if you're paying me to learn, you got everything that I had available to me. You got hundreds of hours of my time invested into that. And if you take it seriously and you have the grit and you have like some of the innate skills that you kind of need to possess to become an entrepreneur in this real estate space, then you will succeed.
"83% of Americans identify as not very happy, which can hold you back and negatively affect your relationships and your business. On this podcast, we discuss the proven steps to happiness so you can restore balance and rekindle your joy."
Welcome to another episode of How to Be Happier for Entrepreneurs. This is really special because today's guest is actually a former client of the Limitless You program. David is one of the OGs. David, welcome to the show.
Brad, it's a pleasure and it's an honor to be on your show. Thanks for having me.
Oh man, I'm so excited. And we're going to walk through. You're going to want to listen to this because this guy has made some major transformations, major changes in his life. He's going to walk through how he did it, what inspired him, and just how much different life is now that he's done the work. And we'll talk a lot about the work. David, let's go all the way back to the first part of this journey. Like, where did you find me? What led you to pick up the phone and say, hey, I think I could use some of your help?
That's a great question. So we're both part of a mastermind called the Collective Genius. It's probably the best real estate investor mastermind group in the country. I had a lot of colleagues of mine that worked with you and they've saw great results. And I think that on a personal level, I'm always self-improving, whether it's in fitness or in business. And I really just wanted to start seeing some changes in my life. And yeah, people kept pointing me in your direction. So I said, let's try it out. How bad could it be? So I think that's what kind of prompted me to want to work with you. I guess the internal reason as to what I wanted to change was my inconsistencies, right? So I would be a complete workaholic. I would be working like 18 hours a day, 6-7 days a week for like a decade. And there would be periods of my life where I'm consistent going to church, and then really inconsistent periods of my life where I'm working out, I'm eating healthy, and periods where I'm like gaining 40 pounds in like a year. Periods of my life where I'm being intentional about my relationships and about, just doing the things that balanced, happy people do.
Right.
And I just found that I was kind of like a roller coaster, and I wasn't sure why. But I wanted to change that. I wanted to be the best version of myself, not only for me, but for my colleagues, my business partner, my girlfriend at the time, no longer my girlfriend, my family. And so I just wanted to become the best version of me. And I definitely took some major steps towards becoming that person. Thanks.
Beautiful. Well, we're going to touch on the girlfriend subject. This is completely unscripted, so you have no idea what I'm going to throw at you. But I'm really curious because what happens is people change. Is sometimes the other person doesn't change and they get left behind. But we'll talk all about that. So if you can roll back, I think it was like a year ago. You're on this initial call with me about the actual program. Can you remember the feelings or the skepticism you had? Because there was hypnosis involved. Can you remember any of those initial trepidations that you had back a year ago?
Yeah, so I guess my father's a missionary. I'm a Christian, and so I was like, is this a little sacrilegious? Is this like kosher with God? So I think I asked you to send me some of the things that you wanted me to do, some of the recordings that you wanted me to listen to.
Yeah,
I sent it to my pops. I sent it to my pastor, and it passed the sniff test. So that was kind of my major roadblock to signing up. The second one was, I guess it just seemed a little too good to be true, right? Like how could we, like, what people go to therapy for years and decades? How could you get those same results in such a short period of time? So there was a little bit of skepticism as far as like what the results might be. But I think one of the great things about me is that I go all in, and like I have this like very strong faith and belief that if I just go all in, I just get tremendous results. So I think after we signed up, I was all in. I did everything you asked me to do, and yes, I put in the work.
And that's where the clients who have the most success, they just follow the program and do the work. And I know you teach investors and stuff. It's the same thing. Like, just follow the program. It works, or we wouldn't be here talking to you, right? So right. Can you remember, you mentioned a bunch of things that you wanted to get better at, consistency. But what was the number one thing that drove you to work with me and Limitless You?
Man, I have the sheet that I filled out, what I wanted to get, what kind of results I was looking for. It was consistency in my health. It was consistency in my faith. It was consistency in my relationships. And I wanted to make more money, but I didn't want to work harder to do it because I was capped out. I was giving everything I had to the point where everything else in my life really was suffering.
Right.
So I wanted to find a balance that enabled me to be the best leader I can be for others, make as much money as I possibly can while maintaining the creativity and joy and peace in my work. And I wanted to flourish in all the other aspects of my life that make you whole.
Love it. I mean, that is really the definition. Like, that's we changed our name months ago from Brad Chandler Coaching, my name, to Limitless You, because we believe everyone's limitless. And that's kind of what you came to us with. You're like, I want to be limitless. So what has changed in the year since we started working together?
Okay, that's a loaded question. Okay, so I lost 40 pounds.
Damn, dude, you look completely different.
Go look at these games, baby. I'm just kidding. No, but the abs are there now. I feel fantastic. I'm very consistent in the gym, at least 6 days a week. I pump iron like a maniac. I'm doing everything I set out to do. I read the Bible every day. I pray every day. I'm intentional about my journaling, what I'm grateful for, what I'm happy about, who I love, what's my intention. Like, I'm really doing the things that fill my soul. I spend 30 minutes a day reading the Wall Street Journal. I'm learning Spanish. Dude. Yeah, man. What else am I doing? I'm reading at least 10 pages of a book, 7 days a week. Extremely consistent on that. I go to church. I haven't missed church in a while. I feel like I'm able to love on a way deeper level because the insecurities that I had within myself prevented me from loving myself. So I really wasn't able to love deeply. And so I feel like my relationships are way better. My business partner and I had been going through a 2-year separation. We were able to resolve that issue. Now we love each other. I'm the godfather of his newborn son, Michael.
Whoa.
Yeah, God, like, amen. Amen. God is good. And so like that relationship's been totally repaired. His wife, Nikki, shout out Nikki. I love you. She's the best. Business is great, right? We're about to have the best month ever this month, July. It's not, we wanted to hit $1 million a month, but we very close. I gained over like 500,000 followers on social media, over the course of the last just 6 months, just being my authentic self. I mean, it's been something else, man.
Brother, like, yeah. We're going to hit some of these. So first of all, you were already a handsome fellow when I met you. Literally, I haven't seen you in a while, right? This is the truth. We've done some texting, but we haven't talked or we haven't seen you. Dude, you look like a different person. I mean, when you came onto the camera, first of all, you're 40 pounds lighter. So you're extra handsome. And you had this, like, you're just like chilling, sitting in the seat. Like, the old David was like, gotta go like 160 miles an hour. And we talked about this because it was your lack of self-love, which meant that you were in a fight or flight state all the time. And you were in an all-out sprint because you had a lion chasing you. You literally woke up every day and didn't say to yourself, hey, I'm going to die. But your subconscious mind was like, if I don't do these certain things, people won't love me. and then I'll die. I'll get kicked out of the tribe, right? So do you remember like your score on the self-love quiz when you first took it?
Ooh, dude, I think I was like off the scale.
Yeah. Lack of self-love, right?
I think it was beyond the number that was like, I think there's like a range for like lack of self-love. And then I was like, wow, why am I not even on this scale right now?
The red light started like buzzing. No, you're right. You were deep into lack of self-love. 5 weeks when the program ended, do you remember where you were?
I was in right before extreme. I was in mild self-love, but just a couple points away.
Yeah, you were like a pointer to your way. And judging by what you've told me, I think if you retook it, so you had a major shift. So I want to talk through some of these things because a fellow client of ours, and the only reason I'm disclosing this is because he's told the whole world and it's on social media and our page. And that's Jason, who came to me a year and a half ago and his marriage was on the verge of divorce. Now you talk to that guy and he's like, my marriage is great. He prepared the relationship and I never talked to his wife. Unfortunately, I've yet to even meet her. Wow. I never had any marriage counseling sessions, but what happened is what happened with you. You went from lack of self-love to extreme self-love, and your relationship, is it with Eric?
Yeah.
With Eric has completely changed because how can you love another human being when you don't love yourself?
Right.
And that's what people don't understand. How many people do you know that are going to marriage counseling? This is a crazy story. My massage guy, I get a deep tissue massage every Tuesday. We get into the most deep conversations. He's my people. He says he has 388 clients. So I rounded up to 400. And I said, how many of your clients, because when you're a go-to massage guy, like you open up, right? How many of your clients have a truly amazing, happy marriage? How many do you think he said out of 388?
I would say like 5%, 10%.
Really close. He said 12. Now, here's the irony. I go, do you know that my mom had a friend 30 years ago, David Knox, who wrote a book? And this has stuck with me for years and years and years. In his book, he wrote that 3% of marriages are truly happy. Guess what 12%, what percent 12 is of 400? 3%? I'm doing the math right. It's 3%.
Wow.
I'm like, this is crazy, right? So why am I saying this? Because you have already witnessed with your partner and countless clients that the problem in relationships isn't the actual relationship. It's the relationship each individual has with themselves. Look at your dynamics with Eric, how much they've changed.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing.
You tell us why they've changed.
Well, I would say that when you don't love yourself or you feel like you don't belong or you're not enough and you'll never be enough, if you suffer from one or all three of those that self-talk, you're so easily triggered by external circumstances that tell you that you're not enough, you're not loved, and you don't belong. And so what happens is it triggers that point in your life where you kind of told yourself that. And when you're a kid and you tell yourself that for the first time, it usually happens because some traumatic event occurred, right? And so it brings back those same feelings. And when you're living in that negative emotional state, you're just not thinking. You're thinking, you're in fight or flight mode. And so you're not thinking clearly. So you can't respond in a responsible, loving, and caring way that's going to get you the results that you're looking for. So I don't know if that was super long-winded, but
no.
I think that given that, little things would take me off or trigger me, I was unable to be compassionate to what Eric was going through and my business partner, and just kind of, instead of receiving what he's trying to tell me as like, dude, I need help, or dude, this is what I'm struggling with, I would receive it as an attack.
Yeah.
When you're coming from that place, man, you're just not able to hear people for what they're trying to say. And you're not compassionate and understanding, because even if he is coming at you in all types of ways, it could be completely negative, it might be the wrong approach. But if you love yourself and you know you're enough, it doesn't matter. You could take that and you could say, look, man, it looks like you're stressed out. I love you. I'm here for you. We want the same things. Did I do something to offend you?
Yeah.
And when you love yourself enough where you no longer get triggered for little things like that, you could start to rebuild that relationship in a healthy way. And vice versa. If you say that enough to your partner that you love and you care for, and he starts to realize how much you love and care for him, there's healing starts to happen in that relationship. Right. And so, I don't know if I went on a tangent.
No, it was beautiful.
Okay.
It was beautiful. David, this is why we have a 50 to 52% first divorce rate and like a 72% third divorce rate. This is why partnerships in business fail all the time. For that matter, it's a reason for everything. It's a reason our prisons are full, our hospitals are full, why we have wars going on, why the politicians act like they do for power. It's all this lack of self-love. And if you're if you're listening to this and you want to know your level of self-love, do yourself and your family and your business a favor and just go take 3 minutes. All you have to do is 3 minutes, 12 questions. Go to unlocklimitlessyou.com. That's YOU. It's /quiz and take the quiz. So if you're in a bad business partnership or you're in a bad relationship, I think David just gave you some hope that you're not going to get you're probably not going to get the solution or the outcome that you want going to marriage counseling, because most marriage counseling sessions, believe me, I've been to about 50 or 60 sessions. I know well, and I probably went to like 5 or 6 or 7 different therapists, maybe more than that. It's all about, hey, let's hold hands more. Let's be more affectionate. Take her on more date nights. Repeat back what she says. But what Dave was saying, when you have this lack of self-love, that shit doesn't work.
Doesn't matter. They just kind of give you tools of communication. I don't know. I've done like two. I hired two counselors or business coaches to kind of repair a relationship. One of them was kind of like just giving us tools of how to communicate with one another, understanding triggering moments. And then one guy who actually did the work that you preach, he was actually incredibly impactful, right? He understood that the underlying cause was not like on the outside of what the actual issues are. It's just within ourselves. So no, I totally agree. Agree.
So if you think your marriage is over and you've already got like deadlines, when the kids go to school, I'm divorcing, or your business partnership too is about to fold. It's really not over. If you want to do the work, give us a call and we can do the same thing we did for David. Awesome stuff, man. All right. So you said a lot of stuff. I got a whole list here of stuff to go through. So the money, you didn't come to me to make a bunch more money, I don't think, but you might have your best month ever. Is there any correlation to the new David and making more money?
Yeah, I would say for sure. I'm not stressed. Like my calendar's stacked. But I only work like an 11 to 12 hour workday. I'm not running. And you know what? I'm not perfect. So I'm a human. I do get stressed when I don't catch a breath between meetings. But like today was a crazy day. I am totally chill right now. Right before this meeting, I was like, I actually have a couple extra minutes. Let me just kick my feet up and like just catch up on some message. And I didn't feel the typical stress that I usually felt a year ago. Last year, I think you asked me, David, what percent of the day do you feel stressed? I think I said like somewhat upwards of like 70 to 80%.
Yeah, I remember that. You did.
I would say on my worst day now, I'm stressed 50% of the time. Right. And
worst day.
On my worst day is 50%. And on my best days, like my normal days, I would say 20% of the time.
That's a big improvement.
Yeah.
Someone may have choked or fall off their chair when you just said, I think you said, I only work 11 or 12 hours a day. Did you really say that?
Yeah, I guess I just built different. I don't know. I have the capacity to do it. I don't have kids. And I spend 5 hours a day, 4 to 5 hours a day just with myself. So like, I feel like so long as if I work to the point where I know that I still have time to do the things that are important to me. I could still work out, read the Bible, do my Bible plan, read my manifestation statements, learn a new language and read a book, read the Wall Street Journal. Like if I could do all those things, spend 4 to 5 hours with myself and not be too tired to do it, I know I have not worked. I'm working a healthy amount for sure.
So does that mean before we started working together that those 4 or 5 hours, so literally like 15 hours, you were working 15, 16 hours a day?
Yeah, for sure.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You're making progress and it sounds like you enjoy it. When you do have a family, we're gonna have to work on getting those hours way down.
Oh man. I'll bring it down to an 8-hour workday, don't worry.
So my man has absolutely blown up on Instagram. Does that have anything to do with the new David?
Dude, it kind of just happened, you know? It just happened out of thin air. I had been producing content for 2 years prior to that and just like doing like talking heads and just like really just, I would have this script that my media manager would write. I would do it. I hated to do it. I would do these podcasts. That wasn't really like, I didn't really enjoy that much. And then one day it was just like, just why don't you just like record what I do during the day? And just me being me, authentically myself, just closing deals, helping my sales guys, helping them, training them up. And the raw organic version of me just went absolutely viral. So like on average, we get like 250,000 views per video.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's crazy. We just hit 400,000 followers on Instagram today. And like, dude, it was like February, I only had like 4,000 followers. So it's been like pretty consistent growth. And it just opened up a whole new business line that I had no idea was even possible. You know, I just like, it's great. I think like internet money is always the best money. So we'll see where God will take that business line.
How are you monetizing it?
So I have not been focused on monetizing. I've just been focused on providing value, building an audience. But the people have been asking for courses and coaching. And so going into September, we're launching like a free community, a paid community, and a course. And I just wanted to be sure that like, if you're paying me to like learn, you're paying me $7,000 for my course, you got everything that I had available to me. You got hundreds of hours of my time invested into that. And if you take it seriously and you have the grit, and you have like some of the innate skills that you kind of need to possess to become an entrepreneur in this real estate space, then you will succeed. And I believe that it's going to be the hands down best course the world has to offer at this present moment. I truly believe that it will be. And so that's why it's taking me so long to launch. I don't want to do a weekend course, slap something together and make money. I want to be proud of the product I put out and actually make an impact for the people that trusted me enough to with their money.
Yeah. So I have two things. Let me start with, you mentioned the word when I became my authentic self. I've not known anyone in my life who had lack of self-love that was their truly authentic self, that including myself. Like I wore a mask. I could never have gotten on a video on social media and said that I used to ask my ex-wife to tell me I was handsome and sexy all the time. I would have been like mortified. I'd been like, oh my God, if someone knows that, like, so do you think that your ability to be this amazing self that you are without these filters or without the self-judgment, the fear of self-judgment, do you think that has helped?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Like, I'll give you yeah, I mean, absolutely. It's impacted everything in my life, man. Like, dude, I'm in a relationship right now. Greatest girl ever. Super smart. She goes to law school. She runs her own business. She's smoking hot, dude. Smoking hottest chick I've ever. If you see this, you are the best. You are the best. Like loves her family, goes to church, like just an incredible woman. And like, I don't think that the version I was last year would be ready for such an amazing person. Because, dude, I could just love without being scared of like I don't know how to explain it. Like
you're explaining it. Look, you're talking to the guy. Like, I live this every single day. I'm going to say one thing about Instagram, then we're going to come back to here.
Okay.
This is great stuff. Yeah. I have a kind of a buddy who owns a podcast. He helps people get on podcasts. His name is C-Rock, and he has got 1 million Instagram followers. He said, Brad, when I got to 1 million Instagram followers, I can pretty much get on the phone with anyone. He's like, whether it's an NFL coach, an NFL player, because they'll look at your Instagram and they'll just give you instant credibility.
Yeah, so, dude, incredible.
So keep going. So I remember when we were coaching, where you were having problems with your girlfriend at the time. And I was thinking, I don't know if I ever said this, that there's a chance that I kept saying, just be patient with her and hopefully she'll come up. What happened? Did you just go to another level and you just left her behind in terms of like, I now have extreme self-love and she has lack of self-love and it's just too hard to deal with?
That definitely played a big role. I would say there was other variables. There were other variables involved. Like, I love her to death. I hope she finds the greatest guy ever. I hope she gets married ASAP, has a wonderful, I really do. I have nothing but love for her. It's just wasn't it. It just wasn't, we weren't a fit for one another.
Yeah.
And in the event that she watched this, I don't want to say anything bad about her. I think she has a wonderful heart, and I wish her nothing but the best. I'm going to keep it political. I'm going to keep
I understand. And like, you know me well enough to know that this isn't a judgment or indictment on her. If she, and I have no idea if she lacks self-love, but if she does, it's not her fault. It's the same reason you did and I did. It was just our brain trying to protect ourselves from something that it thought was worse. But as you unlocked, the thing that we thought was worse is nothing more than an untruth. You and I were living under this false pretense that there was something wrong with us and that we weren't enough based on our childhood pain, right?
Right.
Now, why are we free? Because we're like, wait, that had nothing to do with me.
Right.
I'm good. Mm-hmm. I used to tell you all the time, you're a believer in God. God made you in his light. Like, how can you not be great, right? So the new relationship, I love what you said. I wouldn't have been ready. Yeah, she probably would have spent 5 minutes with you and been like, nah, I'm good. The old David, right? The new David, this new person, yeah, she matched with. So, man, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. I feel like I could just be like actually romantic, Before I was like the worst romantic. I had a very hard time giving words of affirmation, like just being like a loving person in general. But I'm just like, I feel like I'm brave enough to love deeply, at this point in my life. And if it all blows up, but I still love myself. So we're all good.
Yeah, you can't lose. That's what I tell all of my clients. Like, if they're having relationship problems, let's get you healed. And then no matter what happens with the relationship, you can't lose. Right. It's a beautiful thing, right?
Exactly.
Absolutely incredible. So I think we hit everything that you said. As we wrap up today, why don't you give the Cliff Note version of what did we do over those 5 weeks that allowed you to change? And then what advice would you give someone listening to this today that's either, has anxiety, depression, addiction, shitty marriage, shitty relationship, bad business, business chaos? So first of all, what was your journey like? What did we do? And then what advice would you give folks?
Okay. So at first, we kind of diagnosed what aspects of the lack of self-love I had, like what areas was I deficient? Was it that I did not love myself and I don't deserve to be loved? I think these are 3 categories. I'm not enough. I'll never be enough. I don't belong and I'll never belong. I think it was those 3.
Dude, you're good, man. Yeah.
Yeah. And we've diagnosed that like it was a little bit of all, but mostly in the I'm not enough and I'll never be enough category. And so leading up into the 2 following weeks after we kind of like determined that, there was like listening to this recording, which kind of filled your heart and your subconscious mind during theta state, which is right when you wake up and before you go to sleep, kind of implanting in your subconscious mind that you are enough and you will always be enough. You're loved and you'll always be loved. You belong. And it's just kind of filling you up with like goodness and tapping in and kind of rewiring your subconscious mind. Did that. And throughout that process, met with you on a weekly basis. And you gave us homework, right? It was to journal, right? When did you have a negative emotion? When did you have a negative part of your day? And you had to kind of break that down. What did you experience? What triggered that? How did that make you feel? Not just like I was mad or sad, but like really, what did you feel in your chest and your gut? And then you kind of had there was this like evolution of steps that you needed to take to get to the point where you realized that whatever triggering moment occurred and the emotions and the things that you told yourself was all a lie, and just move on from that, right?
Boom. So from the past.
Just from the past, just it's not true, man. So just like love yourself, you're good. And so at doing that exercise kind of not only helped me realize like what were my triggers, but what just kind of relive what it was in the past that I kept telling myself, and just kind of reaffirm that version of you that told yourself that you were a piece of shit or whatever. Sorry, I can't curse on your show, but you had every time you journal, you could go back to that version of you and say, dude, you are awesome, man. Like you are not supposed to tell yourself that because it is a lie. And you could kind of continue to do that exercise over and over. And then we went into, got hypnotized, revisited. I think there was like a bunch of fragmented memories. Your brain is super powerful, so it kind of puts it in the back of the mind. If you guys watched Inside Out, you take that, throw it in the back of the mind. We kind of took those fragments, put them back together, really relived those moments in my past where I told myself these lies, and I had a moment to go back as an adult, hold hands and hug that like 10-year-old David, show him around and be like, look what we did. Look how awesome life is. Look how you're taking care of your mother. Look how you're taking care of your father. Look at the family that you have, the business that you made. You were able to kind of change the narrative of what you told yourself. And so after that, you kind of have the keys to the prison, right? So you know what lies you told yourself that's presently making a negative impact on you, and the lies that you're telling yourself now. And because you know the truth, you have access to open that prison door and walk out anytime. And there are times where you find yourself back in the prison and you keep telling yourself these lies. But at least now you have the keys, right? And so towards the end, I think it was just like continue to journal, continue to kind of resolve any of these issues and these lies that we're are telling ourselves. And you were there to kind of help me along that journey. And dude, you're my brother. I know if I call you tomorrow and say, Brad, I need you, man. You're there every step of the way. So I guess that was the really long synopsis of my experience. But the key advice I would give,
if someone's struggling,
look, I think that the advice that I would give to someone struggling is that you might think that you're happy, right? And you might think that you have this great old life. And that's something that I told myself. Brad asked me, hey, like, how happy are you? I'm like, dude, I'm happy. I'm the happiest guy ever. And then when you really start to ask yourself these questions and you take the self-love quiz, and Brad asked me, he goes, dude, what was your childhood like? I said, best childhood ever, man. I'm like, dude, I had every aspect of trauma that you could think of, right? Divorced parents, getting my ass beat. Like, it was just my dad left me. I didn't see him. Like, dude, the things that, you would, and I told myself the lie. I had the best childhood ever. So it's really easy for you to tell yourself these lies. So I encourage you, if you think you're in a great place, but you want to make a change in your life, just take the quiz, see where you're at, right? And if you are struggling, I would say the best piece of advice I would give is you're amazing. You are amazing just the way that you are. You were made amazing. You are loved, because as long as you love yourself, that's all you need, man. Because God loves you, we love you, and you are enough. And I think if you just continue if you get the keys to the king, like keys to unlock that door, this is a powerful tool that you'll have for the rest of your life that will help you flourish in your relationships, in your health, in your business, just really all aspects of your life. So I just encourage you guys to love yourself, know you're enough, and you do belong.
Wow, you're awesome, man. Love you, brother. Yeah, if you want to take that quiz, unlocklimitlessyou.com/quiz. My last question is, are you more affectionate now with your girlfriend than you were in past relationships?
Yeah, for sure. Like insane. Like there's just if this was a level of affection I had before, I'm in heaven right now with the level of affection I could give.
Yeah. So I asked that to set you up. I mean, I just figured you'd say that because I've heard people saying, well, my husband, he's not really the affectionate kind. And I'm like, bullshit. He was the affectionate kind. What child do you know that doesn't go up to another kid when they're 2 or 3 years old and try to hug him and kiss them? The reason that you're not affectionate or your spouse isn't affectionate is because you probably were affectionate or opened your heart and you got hurt in your past. And so you're telling yourself the lie unconsciously, so you don't really know it, that if I touch this person or if I open up, I'm going to get my love withdrawn, and therefore I stay safe by not. But how much better is life, David, when you can touch and be affectionate with your partner?
The best. You're just so much happier because they're so much happier. Everything is so much better.
Yeah. So any shit that you've got anything negative in your brain right now, just remember, it's a solution to a problem that your brain thinks is even worse. But that thing that it thinks is worth is the affection thing is an exact example. I want to be affectionate, but I can't. Because why? Because what's driving me is if I'm affectionate, I'm going to get shut down. And as a kid, if I got shut down, my parents were the ones who fed me. Oh, maybe they don't love me. They're going to kick me out of the tribe. I'm going to die. So once again, everything comes back to survival. We don't wake up saying these things. It's why we're called limitless you. It's because these beliefs that were hidden inside of you and me were controlling our behavior. And as soon as we figured those out, boom, the negative behavior went. So David, I can't be more proud of you, man. I love you. I appreciate you taking the time. My advice to you is keep doing the work because it's going to keep getting better and better and better. All the stuff that you learn and all the influence that you have now in Instagram. Oh my gosh, like let's do an Instagram live soon so we can start sharing this message because think about this. There's a lot of people who can teach people how to become wealthy. What's the point of being wealthy if you hate yourself? So let's talk off camera about how could we weave in what I do to what you do. And then someone comes to you. Oh my gosh, not only did David teach me how to become wealthy, but he taught me something even more important, how to love myself and have great relationships. And then, oh my gosh, you're going to go from 400,000 to 40 million.
Brad, I love you, man. You're the best.
All right.
Thank you for being on the podcast.
Thank you. That concludes another episode of How to Be Happier for Entrepreneurs. I am on a mission to help 1 million people just like David change his life so that he can transform other lives. But I can't do it alone. So if you like this show, if you like anything about it, rate it, review it, share it, subscribe, whatever you can do to help me get out the word. I'd much appreciate it. Until next time, love heals all.
Hit subscribe if you don't want to miss out on more life-changing content. And if you're struggling, you don't have to. Go to bradchandler.com/contact. There, you can join the Facebook community of like-minded entrepreneurs, and you'll see a button to schedule your freedom and happiness call. See you on the next episode.